Viviana, no, it was Vivienne now, dipped her brush, squared her shoulders, and began to scrub. Beneath the stiff bristles, the crusted remains of some long-forgotten ragout broke away from the edges of the cocotte, and the copper pot began to sing. It was the 8th pot she'd scoured so far, and it would not be the last. Lisette had seen to that. Though it was Lisette's laziness and Madame d'Orsay's indifference that had the cookware in the Hainaut home looking so shabby to begin with, it was Vivienne's muscle that would bring it back to life. The task was a punishment, that was clear. What was hazier to Vivienne was precisely what she was being punished for. She could understand quite a bit of what was said to her in French if it was said slowly and with helpful gestures to supplement. It was not completely unlike her native tongue, after all. But Madame d'Orsay only occasionally released her tightly clasped hands to point, and Lisette spoke so fast Vivienne was lucky to pull 2 or 3 clear words from any given sentence. She suspected Lisette did this on purpose. Whatever she'd done wrong, Vivienne was sure she'd do it again. Or if not that, something else. Her new employer seemed as difficult to please as her last one. If she could call the last one an employer. She certainly had not been paid for her service. Still, she was determined to keep this position at all costs. She could not go back to living on the streets of Toulouse, and she could not go back home. Ever. When her fingers could detect no trace of the ghosts of meals past, Vivienne dried the inside of the cocotte with a soft cloth, then picked up a half lemon, dipped the cut end in a dish of salt, and began polishing the exterior of the pot with it, ignoring the sting as traces of the mixture found their way into the cuts on her fingers. Somehow the salt combined with the acid of the lemon in such a way that the gray-green patina on the copper was stripped away, leaving only the warm glow of the pure metal beneath. If only it was so easy to remove the tarnish on a life. To scrape the memories of the past decade. No, more than that. From one's mind, leaving only the good parts behind. It was a silly notion. If such a thing were possible, Vivienne would find little of herself left at the end of the process.